So it's the 13th, and as atrocities continue to mount in the Strip, the IDF just released the names and ranks of casualties from today, and it is wild. There's a lieutenant colonel, 3 majors, a captain, 2 non-commissioned officers, and then a pretty high-ranking non-commissioned officer. And you might be like, wait, where are all the privates and the corporals and the lower enlisted? Well, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna unpack this whole thing, but this is Stalingrad, dude. This is Stalingrad. This is a battle everybody studies because it was a huge blunder for the German army. They invade Russia and they bomb and shell Stalingrad into rubble. Sounds familiar. And one of the biggest advantages the German had were their tanks and their armored vehicles, which, because of the rubble, couldn't really maneuver like the way they should have. And they really nerfed themselves against the Russians because the Russians knew their own rubble of their own city better than they ever would. So they had like ambush positions, fixed fighting positions, and scary sniper positions. And that is actually one of the defining aspects of the battle, because these Russian snipers would just target the officers and leave the lower enlisted men alone. And you know, it would break morale as their officers kept having to get replaced over and over and over again. The only time you see casualty profiles just like this is with snipers. Lieutenant Colonel, Golani Brigade's 13th Battalion. Major, Golani Brigade's 13th Battalion. Major, Golani Brigade's 51st Battalion. So on. This usually speaks to military incompetence because the officers have to go to the front lines and expose themselves in order to deal with a certain type of situation that no one else can figure out. And this happens when you don't have a very strong officer or non-commissioned officer corps. So like in Ukraine, that's why we were seeing so many like generals and field grade officers being taken out by snipers, because they'd always have to be going to the front to deal with situations. And then the Ukrainian snipers would just take them out. And when that was going on, CNN, MSNBC, Fox had every military advisor pundit saying the same thing on live TV. However, you're not going to be seeing any military advisors on these news networks talking about the same exact procedure. They're just creeping through the ruins, taking out field grade officers and leaving the lower enlisted alone. That's actually very disciplined and sophisticated. When we're talking about military incompetence, I want you to look at the ages of these people. Lieutenant Colonel, 35 years old. One of my best friends was a West Point artillery officer. He didn't even make major until that. We have 2 majors who are 23 years old. What? That's insane. We have a 19-year-old sergeant. I was still in basic training when I was 19. I didn't even make sergeant in the Rangers until I was like 22. They're just a bunch of kids with no training. I mean, this makes a lot more sense. Well, there you have it, folks. You're not defeating Hamas with that when nobody in the military has the maturity or the practical experience for the positions they're supposed to be occupying. That's why no progress is being made, but the only thing they can do is listen to their gospel AI targeting program and drop the bombs where it tells them to drop the bombs. Seriously, just a bunch of thugs with a bunch of weapons and advanced gear that they don't deserve and that are too good for them. Oh yeah, and here's a picture of soldiers from that Golan Defense Brigade that's been getting snipered so hard. This is them inside the Hamas parliament, you know, just taking victory pictures for the fans back home. Man, you guys are really asking for it. Freaking 23-year-old majors? Like, what is this, the 19th century British colonial army where you can just purchase commissions if you're wealthy enough?